Hannah gazed into Abraham's brown eyes, flecked with gold from the pale light of the moon. Fireflies blinked on and off as a gentle breeze swirled around them. They'd been spending time together for the past month, and Hannah hadn't allowed more than a gentle peck on the lips. Mostly they'd gone to social events where displays of affection would have been looked down on. But as Abraham's mouth neared Hannah's, she was sure this was the real thing. She tried to focus on what was about to be her first grown-up kiss. It should have been a euphoric moment filled with butterflies and anticipation. Instead, Hannah tried to harness irritation as her sister watched from the bedroom window. She cut her eyes up and to the right, willing Rachel to turn away. "Don't let her bother you." Abraham nodded toward the window, then kissed Hannah gently on the nose before his mouth grazed her earlobe. Hannah wasn't sure how she'd snagged the most handsome man in their district, but as Abraham covered her mouth with his, she allowed herself to fall into the moment. She closed her eyes and savored her first step into womanhood. As she did, she noticed Abraham's breathing become heavier than normal, the feel of his chest rising and falling as he pulled her closer. There would be a price to pay if either of her parents saw them from the upstairs window, but so far only Rachel eyed them, ogling with jealousy, most likely. After a few long moments, Abraham eased away as a bead of sweat trickled down the side of his face. His cropped bangs were damp as well, but his breathing began to slow down. "I'm sorry she's spying on us," Hannah spat the words, then sighed as guilt tightened around her like a wet blanket of shame. Rachel had seen Abraham first and expressed an interest in him, but Hannah had gone in for the kill at the Sunday singing the first night they'd met Abraham. Rachel was withdrawn and shy most of the time when it came to guys, and Hannah had taken advantage of that by pursuing Abraham like a pioneer woman staking claim of her territory. "She's just jealous." Abraham ran a hand through his crop of yellow hair, locks nearly the same shade of blonde as Hannah's. She started to envision the flock of blonde-headed children they'd have one day, but Abraham's comment invaded her thoughts. "Maybe," Hannah whispered. It was true, Rachel had treated Hannah harshly ever since the singing, when Hannah and Abraham had stayed to themselves in the corner of the barn. Rachel's fiery red face and stern stares in their direction had made that clear, and her attitude had only worsened over the past month. Now they were barely speaking. Abraham lifted a hand to Hannah's cheek and brushed away a loose strand of hair that had fallen from beneath her prayer covering. "You're prettier than she is." He smiled, flashing a set of beautiful white teeth. Hannah had been told she was pretty for as long as she could remember, more from the English than those in her community, but plenty of young Amish men had commented on her looks at one time or another. Still, none of them had gone so far as to make a comparison between her and Rachel. Abraham's comment made Hannah hurt for her sister. If those same men could see Rachel's heart, they'd choose her over Hannah for sure. Hannah's sister was a gentle soul who was always out to help others. Rachel was a better cook than Hannah, nimble with a needle and thread, and the vegetables she grew in their garden were always the largest and tastiest. Hannah's sister would make a far better wife than Hannah would. But evil had been unleashed the day of the singing. Hannah had snatched Abraham from her sister before he had a chance to find out how great Rachel was. Rachel pretended she was asleep when she heard Hannah coming up the stairs. She'd already extinguished the lantern. The hum of the battery-operated fan should have lulled her to sleep, but her distressed heart hammered against her chest with a vengeance Rachel couldn't corral. As she squeezed her eyes closed, she tried again to pray, but her deepest desire was for Abraham to lose interest in Hannah so Rachel could try to win him over. And even through her pain, Rachel knew she